conversation.
Well, I suppose at some point I knew.
Okay, I want to call the April 3rd Board of Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:12. Sorry that we had to start a little bit later than usual. First on the agenda, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. So next on the agenda are, this is the first of the months we announce all the birthdays, and God bless, we have no one who's passed this month, so. Birthdays, following people and town employees. Our recording clerk, Brenda Padon, right? P-A-D-O-N.
Thank you.
Dennis Doobie. Does Dennis Doobie work for you, Pat? No? Where's Dennis? Is he on the fire department?
Must be.
Yeah, all right. Tyler Smith, who's on the highway department. Richard Bob again on the highway department. Jacob Bordeaux, I do believe he's on the fire. Yeah. Brian Boyers, our CEO. Kathy Wallingford, our assessing director. Gary Peugeot on the fire department. Devin Peugeot. Is Gary Peugeot on the, what's he on?
Highway.
Highway? Okay, I'm sorry. And Devin Peugeot on the fire department. David Shuren, Jason Shuren, I don't know where he works. And Dana Crosby is our land use clerk. Pardon me?
We were talking birthdays today and she didn't mention it was hers.
Private person, I guess. Okay. Next on the agenda is we have a discussion about the town website that was brought up on a selectman's agenda request from Selectman Thurvold. Would you like to start this off, Ryan?
Sure, yep. So just a couple things. The main one I learned, I guess Heather doesn't have the password to make changes to the website, the town website or the Facebook page. So I think that she should have it. I think the town administrator should be the one at least in charge of the password, know the password, even if she isn't necessarily making all the changes on it. I think she should have it. What do you guys' thought on that?
Well, two things. She'd have to work closely with whoever is doing it now, number one. Otherwise, you end up having too many hands in the pie. What do you think, Andy?
I mean, I didn't even discuss this like months ago, that you were gonna get the password.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I just think that, when that particular person is out on vacation or whatever it might be the case, I mean, one would think that the town administrator could get into the town website, so, I mean, I guess personally, yes, I think she should probably have the password.
So yeah, just work closely with the person who's doing it now.
Yeah.
It would be helpful if I was gonna do a delay, like if there were a snow delay, or something comes up that I wanted to put on, or for instance, sometimes somebody will come in and say, can you add something to that? And I can't,
Yeah, no, I already thought you had it.
so I need permission to do it.
Sorry. Yes, that's,
So I kind of have a-
yeah, no, I'll make a, you wanna make that motion? Sure. I will make a, motion for our town administrator to get the password for the town website.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
we have
Can you guys just speak up? We can't. Most of the back row can't hear you guys.
There's a lot of front seats up here in the front.
It's easier for me if I have to leave in an emergency to go out this way.
No, I know.
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
Front row can't hear you very well either.
What's that?
Front row can't hear you very well either.
Thanks. Okay. So did you guys all get what we just discussed? Okay.
Okay, now also the town has a Facebook page, right? Do you have the
Yes.
password to that?
Yeah, so, again, just the same. Yeah.
So you want me?
I'll make a motion for Heather to get the password, for the town, Facebook page.
I'll second that.
Okay, and to work with who's ever doing it now.
Yes.
So, all in favor?
All right.
Motion passes.
Great. Another thing about the town website, I've noticed that on there it says we'll have a selectman there Thursday morning from 8 to 8:30.
Yeah.
What is the point of that?
Well, it was decided by the board that a selectman would be here for anyone, any citizen to walk in, any town Milton person walk in and inquire for a selectman for questioning or just to talk with one.
Was that done before we had the town administrator back? Or was that when we had a town administrator?
I can't remember. It was in, I can't remember.
I mean, my personal thought on it is, we have the town administrator here, and I think that.
And that's
you go by
right, it's
the-
only for a half hour a week, and if they don't want to talk to a selectman, they walk right into the administrator's office. It's just that they want to talk to a selectman. Not that they have to if I'm here, or Andy or yourself are here, and bypass her. It's just that they want to talk to a selectman. There was no intent to take anything away from her.
I just think that it gives the perception that if there's a selectman here, it's kind of taking it away from her. I think the perception of the public may be that if they see a selectman here, they're not gonna go to the town administrator, they're gonna go to the selectman, and as one single selectman, you can't do anything.
Right, so we just go with phone calls, is what you're saying. We just, all of us just get phone calls.
Phone calls, emails, fill out a request to discuss any town business at a meeting here. I mean, that's the point of the selectmen meetings, and we individually can't make any decisions or do anything, we have to
Correct.
be here as a group.
Correct.
So, I mean, I could see if we didn't have a town administrator, when we went through that period of not having one here.
It's the
that-
same way really with our selectmen's forum down at Dunkin' Donuts, it's really no different, than a selectman being in the town hall, answering any, questions that maybe a taxpayer might wanna talk to a selectman, but it's really no different than having our forums down at Dunkin' Donuts. We can't make any, decisions on behalf of the town at that forum. It's more or less just, people have their little complaints they wanna talk to us about, and I don't really have a problem with that, with that, so it's totally up, whatever you guys wanna do.
All right, I just want to bring it up because I just think it's sending the wrong message to the public, personally. I mean, we have complaint forms that should be filled out, and I think we really should be pushing the processes and procedures and policies we have in place.
Right, and that would be a response if you're saying a complaint. A complaint is only alive when it's on a document, and that should be the suggestion. Even if you got a phone call or you're at your forum, to have them fill out a complaint form.
Yeah,
It's really the only way we should respond to complaints anyway.
right. I agree.
I mean,
Who's been the selectman that's been here?
I have, because I have
Any other
Thursday.
selectman been here?
Nope, I have Thursday mornings off, so that's what makes it unique for me to be here. But the selectman can do it. Any selectman can do it. I don't have to do it.
No,
Yep.
I can't do it
And
personally
what-
because of work.
and what is the outcome like? Do you get residents that come in and talk to you?
I'll tell you, maybe I got 3.
And is this on our website?
Yeah. Larry Brown.
Would you like a little living memory of the tribe?
Sure.
But it goes back more than a couple of years, and when we moved into this building and had the Emma kitchen available, at one point there was even a thought of having a Saturday morning coffee with the selectmen, just to have more contact with what a selectmen looked like, rather than a decision process. And then that went back and forth, and that was the original impetus to having the Sunday morning coffee at Dunkin' Donuts.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't wanna talk to anybody, that's not what I'm saying. I just think that with a town administrator, that we should be pushing people to go through the town administrator when you have a selectman here, it's just sending the wrong message. But my personal opinion, I just wanted to bring it up, so.
I mean, if it was a problem, you know, a serious problem that this particular person that would come in here to talk to a town select, you know, it would have to go down a different avenue anyways. I mean, if it was that serious, I mean, you know, if it's a pothole in the road, I mean, there's avenues to, you know, just send them on, okay, sir, there's a complaint form, fill it out, we'll get it down to DPW and we'll get it taken care of.
Great.
I mean, I personally, I guess, I don't personally have a problem with it, but, you guys, anything you want to put a motion?
State your name.
David Kirkus. I guess the key question to ask is, what purpose does it actually serve? If it's an avenue for them to bring up something to you guys, to the selectmen, the board in general, there should be some other process to bring that up in place with them. Even if it's not a complaint form, there should be a request for something to be discussed, like any number of things. And if the only reason for doing that is that that's not readily apparent on how to go about various activities, maybe the correction isn't to have a meeting, it's to figure out a way to make it more relevant or more obvious what the procedures are. I'm like, because right now on the website, there is not any particular thing that says, if this is what you want to have discussed or brought up or complained, this is what you do. There's no clear steps in terms of what the actual process is. So, like, I couldn't tell you there's a complaint form. I didn't know that. I haven't seen it on the website or any indication that there was anything like that. So that
So if you
seems
came
to
on
be-
a Thursday morning, you'd find out.
If he works, sorry.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it. It's like if I'm retired and not working, it's like, okay, I could come in on a Thursday morning and ask that
Bring
question.
it on the wall.
He spends a lot of time on the website, he'll tell you about that, but he,
Yeah, I'm like, that part of also it's being brought up and discussed is it's like the website, the current website itself, it's very difficult to find anything on it. And I would know, I've literally looked at the entire thing, every link, everything on the website.
Mhm.
And there is some stuff that's buried that I did find eventually, but wasn't very easy to find.
So that actually brings me to my next comment on here, which is, I've heard a lot of complaints and concerns about the website, how difficult it is to find things. Would the board agree that we could have Heather start looking into different options for the website? for improvement?
That's been actually, I want to say a problem for a long time. It's not the first time we've had this complaint come across the board, so I actually agree with you, Ryan, that maybe we should explore some other options for the website and have Heather look into it.
And with that, certain data points so people know, this past November, officially the internet traffic for mobile devices, specifically phones and tablets, surpassed those of a computer. So there are more people using the internet via this. As a matter of fact, specifically 46% of all internet traffic now comes from a phone. Only about 5% come off of a tablet, and only 48% comes off of a computer. Our current website, you can't look at it on a phone. I don't know if you've ever tried to look at it on the phone.
Yeah.
It's the big computer one shrunk down to where you can't read any of the text. So that's,
Unless you blow it up and then, yeah, but
yeah.
it's
So
difficult
that's,
to read.
I can definitely tell that it was written and built in the early 90s. and hasn't.
And so
been
a
updated.
format that would fit a phone is what you're saying, right?
Well, what
Oh,
it's
I
called
get-
is responsive web design. In
Yeah.
other words, one that if you look at it with a phone, it readjusts itself so it's relevant to a phone. But if you look at it on a computer, it'll look slightly different, have all
Sure.
the same information, but the format's different. I'm like, instead of menus across the across the top like you would have on a computer,
Mhm.
on a phone, there's a little, what's called a hamburger menu that you click on it and it pulls down kind of a cascading menu where you can, there's still a menu, but it's formatted for a phone instead of the computer.
Sure. It's a great idea, thank you. Yep.
He's done a little template. I can send the board a link to it
Mhm.
of what an idea of what that would look like, and it's actually pretty interactive for the town. So I'll send it to you. There's also another organization that works with towns. It's called Virtual Town and City.
How you gonna send it to me on my smartphone?
You can send his.
We still can't, I still can't
Can you
hear
speak up a little bit?
Discussion. We can't
Sorry,
hear
guys.
discussion.
He has done a template for us to look at for the town, and I was just saying to the board, I could send it to the board just to look at. He gives an idea, and there's also another organization that's pretty costly, but it does work for towns that do it, called Virtual Town and City, and other towns have used them as well. I think he's familiar with both, so we've talked about that.
Yeah, Virtual Towns and Cities, it's a company based out of Massachusetts.
Shrewsbury?
And I know for a fact, for example, they did Rochester,
Right.
for example. But I also know for a fact that I've looked at various other towns and stuff like that. Until you get to Rochester size, nobody smaller than Rochester size has used Virtual Towns and Schools because it tends to be cost prohibitive on any
It is.
small town like this.
Mhm.
It's like,
I don't even
I-
know what we have for.
Well, I know what it costs because I budgeted last time. I looked at it. And it's good
No,
quality.
I agree, let's look into it,
But his is,
whatever works,
okay,
yeah.
So Mike, you agree too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
can you do, oh,
You want a motion? I'll make a motion to have Heather look into different options for the service to improve the town's website.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we have Pat Smith, you're up.
Okay, in your packet, you should have a couple of quotes for pickup truck. I did go out for 3 quotes and one company did not send a quote in. So I only was able to give you 2. So we went for 3, we got 2. Granite Ford quote totaled $37,424. That's a complete pickup with the plow, sprayed-in bed liner, weather floor mats, yellow beacon, wired in, and turn the key, pretty much, for $37,424. That was Granite Ford and Portsmouth Ford. Their total
It's
price
off,
was
I know, yeah.
$44,149. That still includes the $51.95 for the plow, $550 for the bed liner, $300 for the light, and that was turnkey also.
On the Granite Ford, I don't know, maybe if you left something out.
No, Granite had a error in their math,
Yeah,
and I had a phone call that number wasn't correct.
okay. So it was for what?
It's $37,424.
It's 424. What's the biggest contributor to the difference in prices, Pat? One's 37, the other one's 44.
The difference is the Granite has a 2016 on the lot.
Yeah.
It's green. And Portsmouth would have to get a 17 and paint it. So that, I think that's your cost and price.
I see. You have this in your
My
budget, Pat?
My recommendation would be to go with the 2016 from
Yeah.
Granite.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think that the Granite Ford is the way to go. Also, I don't think that repainting a new truck is a good idea.
No, I didn't do that.
It just doesn't, I don't like that idea. There's a lot of things that can go wrong.
Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make that motion for Pat to purchase the new 2016 Ford F-250 green pickup truck from Granite Ford for the amount of $37,424.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next is the sewer department, Dale Sprague. Hi, Dale.
Hi.
I think, do I have, is this his last year's
This is last
contract?
year's, we do not have a template for this. Dana's gonna type up a new one, and she said she would, but she just wanted to see if we
Yep.
wanted to make changes at this point, so we want everybody's talk.
Yep, good, you're on.
This is my current contract. I run the wastewater facility, has for quite a number of years. This is an annual contract, runs out the end of this month, so I wanted to get it to the board's attention to see about getting it renewed. I don't know if, how soon you get this packet, if you had a chance to look it over, to see if there were any changes that you needed to make within the contract itself, separate from the price. So I'll talk about either one if you have any other things you want to change in it. It's been changed over the years. I think it's pretty comprehensive. I basically do everything soup to nuts at the wastewater facility, so.
You do a good job too, Dale.
So, yeah, so it's,
So you have your salary here at
Mhm.
30,188.72. You're coming up with are you gonna be coming forward with any increases?
well, I was, there wasn't anything last year, which was fine. and none of
But
the other town
that's
employees-
because the year before we were in a default budget, correct?
Exactly, right,
Yeah.
right. Which is fair. I mean, that's
Yeah.
fair, so. So I was thinking a 4% increase, but I don't know, you know, I just wanted to get it before the board, so we get plenty of time to negotiate, figure out what you want to do, but I'm suggesting 4%.
Does that include the what was it, 1.7
I don't know what you
COLA?
guys, I'm uninformed as to what your, your regular employees got. I'm a contract operator, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you're treating me the same or as a contract operator. So I'm not really familiar with what you guys gave your employees this year for raises, so.
Well, this is a self-funded,
Yeah.
this self-funds itself.
It does.
The taxpayers aren't paying for any of these wages. So, I'm fine. I mean, we're not in a default budget this year.
Right.
He deserves, some sort of.
Are you gonna write something up to bring in front of us?
I haven't before. I can though, if you want me to do something.
Well, it's gotta be on paper.
Know what? I talked to Dana what we're gonna do, because the only Word document I have is like ages ago,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know if the prior administrators had it or whatever, but, so I talked to Dana, and whatever suggestions, changes we make tonight, Heather or I will let her know what they are. She will type up a new Word
Contract.
document for signature in another week or two, whatever it happens to be, so that's what we figured out what we do. So then we'll have a new document going forward. It's on your computer and so forth, so.
So we just gotta figure out,
Historically, what have we done? I mean, I know last year, it sounds like we didn't do anything because we were in a default budget. but
Correct.
Previous to that, what has been done in the past?
I think the last time there was an increase, it was 3%, wasn't it? I may be wrong.
It would have been 1.7%. Uh, 1.7 in 2014 and 1.7 in, should be 2015, because there was nothing in 2016. So 1.7 and 1.7. And then 0 and then
Right.
2017. So those are the most
What do
recent
you
ones
fellas
that I
think on that 4%? In my personal opinion is I'm thinking 2%.
Well,
And he's gone through 1.7 a couple of years, then nothing. So that would still be an increase overall at 2%.
like I said, this is a self-funded organization.
Yep. I'm just waiting to hear what you guys think.
What do you think, Brian?
How will we increase that? I mean, you say it's self-funded,
Yeah.
so how is that going, I mean, is there money there to cover?
Oh, yes, yes. I don't have the budget in front of me, but, yeah. Yeah, good.
What does self-funded mean? Out of
The
curiosity.
taxpayers, you know, I mean, they pay their water sewer treatment bills. I mean, their water.
Okay, all right,
That's
so if I
how-
had
It's usage fees.
town water and a sewer,
Yeah.
I would be paying, okay, user
Yeah.
fees. Thank you.
And to follow up, Ed Fish.
Could you state your name, please, for the
Ed
record?
Fish,
Okay.
yeah, and
I'm
to
sorry,
follow up
Nick.
with her comment, so let's say at the end of a year, the self-funding, is there an excess in that?
Yes.
And that excess goes to where?
The general fund.
The general fund?
No.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Where does the excess money go?
Stays in the sewer department general operating fund.
So that
budget.
continues to go up?
Yes.
So-
And it's there for any catastrophes that
Well, there's
might.
a whole separate capital reserve fund that's dedicated for any replacement of pumps and other heavy equipment or buildings, sewer lines, that type. There's a whole separate fund. Should be built up a little bit more, but that's a different conversation. But, so there were two separate funds. Your bank account, basically paying all your bills, and then your fund that you can use for capital replacement costs, so.
And for the capital funds, does that money also come from this self-funding pool,
Yes.
or does that come
Yes.
from?
It's money's accumulated over the years, and they've just, basically, it's just an accounting thing. You just put money over here, and it's there, you can't really touch it. It's not part of the checkbook, and so.
So with a
That's-
3 or 4% increase, it's not going to, it's still gonna be able to be covered by that fund that we have,
Yes.
and there's still gonna be able to be excess in that fund?
Yes.
That's definitely.
Thank you.
I mean, I run it as cheaply as I can. I mean,
Oh, you
it's-
do a great
it's,
job.
Mhm.
I mean, you do.
Betsy Baker, is there no sewer commissioners anymore?
No,
Okay,
they dissolved and went to the Board of Selectmen.
okay.
Yeah.
I guess to key off what Ryan was asking about what the effect is like, there's a given budget, let's give you 4%, what's that, how's that gonna impact, is it going to start reducing that amount without increasing the price of sewer and water? And if it's not, in other words, the amount that it's going up in account is more than the 4% as it is, what's the end dollar cost in terms of either reduction in the amount that's in the fund versus the increased cost for sewer and water for those that have to pay for sewer and water? And that's really probably is the key deciding factor, and that would be the number most
Well,
relevant in this
It
discussion.
wouldn't be water, because
Right.
water's just another district.
Okay, but my point being
Yeah.
is, what's the effect on the bill of those that are having to pay for a bill? And if there's no effect, then it has to have an effect on the fund, and what's the effect on the fund?
Heather's going to get the, what 4% would, what the 4% increase would be. And while we're waiting, Peg,
But that's not.
No, I was just kind of going with what you just said, is if you're charging me, you know, say that's $100 a year for my sewer, and it's really only costing $75, where does that extra $25 go? You said general fund, you said
Does not
it
go to the
stays
general
with
fund.
you.
Stays with the sewer fund, yes.
Okay, does it go into your capital reserve fund?
No, stays in the checking account,
So why would
savings
you not
account.
give me a $25 rebate the following year? Just asking.
It's up to the Board of Selectmen. We've lowered the sewer
Ah.
rates over the years, so there's,
But you're still making money, I mean, you're, okay.
Ed, Pat?
When the sewer was originally set up, it was set up as a district, like the water is set up as a district. When the people voted on the sewer project to go in and for the town to go on sewer, it's supposed to be self-funded, so the users of that district were supposed to pay the fees to fund that district. The district fell apart, so the selectmen had the obligation to take over the sewer. So now the town runs the sewer, but it is still set up like a district so that the user fees pay for the operator to operate, pays for any maintenance that has to be taken care of, pays to run the building, maintain the building. Everything is taken care of in sewer out of those user fees. So it's still set up that way. That helps you understand?
Well, yeah, but I still wanna know that if I overpaid this year, why would I not get
When it
a-
was set up, it was set up to have a certain amount of money to go towards future expansion.
Okay, that's.
Go to any
that's what I want.
major repairs. If you have to repair a line, some of these lines are 20 feet in the ground, you're gonna be paying somebody some pretty good money to come in to fix a line.
Thank you.
Larry Brown,
That, among other things, Larry Brown, I happen to be the last sewer commissioner. And what we're talking about, for example, an average low cost of putting through a mile of sewer is approximately $1.2 million.
pretty close.
The sewer district as set up has to have the capacity out of its own funds, either operating income or reserves established under certain capital reserve funds, to handle the cost of emergencies, to handle the cost of regular repair and maintenance, and to pay for the state mandated credentialing of the operator.
hold on, Larry, what's up? Hold on. Go ahead, Larry.
Oh, okay. In addition, the state and EPA are adding to the regulations which control the quality of water which exit the sewer treatment center. There is, for example, I believe, 3 lagoons which are contained by high-quality EDPM, I always get the initials wrong, rubber barriers. You have to set aside money to cover the repair and replacement of those lagoons. You have to set aside money for the care and maintenance of the berm which surrounds the lagoon. And what you're not talking about is 4% of the entire budget. You are talking about a 4% on a contract which does not put into place the costs of the regular FICA and other retirement benefits that an employee would have. So 4%, I think, will bring it out to somewhere in the neighborhood of $35,000. I'm lousy on.
No.
Which,
It's
Not even close.
It's like a $1,200.
$1,274.
no, I mean the total contract salary to pay.
Still.
It's like 32 and change, 33 and change.
Okay, so and it represents the. It does not represent the elephant, it represents the tail on the elephant. It's a small cost for the total operation. And it is a quality operation. If I dropped a fried egg on the floor, I would eat the egg, and Dale would yell at me for getting before me. It is that clean.
Total cost would be $31,396.26 for 4%.
Did you have a question, Matt?
I just kind of had a statement. So I mean, anybody in this room who's on city sewer, I mean, I'm personally not, but anybody who's on this room, or in this room on city sewer, town sewer, whatever you want to call it, you haven't had sewage backup in your building, have you? I mean, what's $1,200.50 to give the man who clearly works hard and keeps it taken care of and doesn't get in trouble, get the town in trouble with the state EPA or whatever else, you know? I mean, honestly, what's $1,200? We're gonna spend $34 on a truck for Pat, so
That's a good comparison, I
what's
guess.
$1,200? You know what I mean? Seriously.
So that's at 3%, by the way.
Okay.
No,
Is it 4?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
It's
okay,
4. She is 4.
okay.
Yeah, Mike, and I'd just like to second that comment. You know, I'm looking at the fact that we're looking at 3.4% over the last 3 years in the contract, and, you know, everyone's cost, everyone's feeling pinch here and there, and for the work that they do, and I'm not on sewer or city water either, but I'm saying that I certainly would favor something like that.
He does a great job, make no
Yeah.
mistake.
And most businesses, that 3.4% spaced out over 3 years, that's not even cost of living increase.
Right.
And I don't know if anybody's done any evaluation or something like this, but and there's a big difference between here and Grand Rapids, but my uncle actually ran the wastewater treatment in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's only getting paid $32,000. That's way low as it is compared, relatively speaking, for the knowledge required to handle that kind of stuff. So I'm not on sewer either, but
Yeah, so how many hours you put in, Dale?
Somewhat seasonal. This time of year, it's not so much because there's not much I can do outside. Probably like 15 to 18. This time of year in the summertime, it'll be, 20 plus.
Sure.
So it's like a half-time job basically. So
Yeah.
No, I mean, unfortunately, I don't have the figures in front of me, but if you take $1,200 and base that out over the whole district who's paying, the user fees, I'm sure it's,
Pennies
it's
probably,
pennies.
yeah.
So, I'm in favor for giving a Dale's rate a 4% raise.
It says you
Is
have
that
to,
a,
says you have to have a grade 3 license. Do you still have to have that? Grade 3 certificate?
it's a grade 2 plan I have. I just happen to have a grade 3 license. That's all. It's the way the contractor's written. But
You exceed the expectations.
so we need a motion for the change.
I mean, do we have to need one of these typed up, and
Well, that's he's gonna get together with Dana.
I have to give Dana the changes.
do we need all that before we make the motion?
Well, a motion for the change.
Yeah, so then you guys can sign it.
Okay.
No, I'll make that motion for the compensation, change. It was 30,188.72, and, it's gonna change to,
31,396.26.
get that? So that's the motion and the change of the compensation, and, so we'll get that changed, and then, we'll get that, the
Right, now.
new agreement in front of us to make a motion to accept the deal.
okay.
Right. Can I have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dale.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Good time.
Okay, next on the agenda is the selectmen's agenda request form, and Ryan's gonna speak on this.
All right, notice there seems to be a lot of confusion on when the selectmen agenda request form needs to be turned in to make it on the next meeting. So what I proposed here is basically just changing the form a little bit to basically state that selectmen meetings are generally conducted on the first and third Monday of each month. See website for more details. Be considered for inclusion. Requests must be received by noontime on Wednesday preceding the meeting. Please provide a brief description of why you would like to be on the agenda. Give an explanation of what the reason is, the desired outcome of placing it on the agenda, and any other pertinent information. And then also add questions regarding the agenda management can be directed to the town administrator via phone or email. This would just help, I think, Heather to keep things straight and everybody realize that you need to turn the form in before the Friday before the meeting to give time to get on agenda and get the agenda posted.
Like, this actually came up at the, this hasn't been this long. I've been serving 4 years, and I think the last 4 months we've been doing this. That's a great idea, because otherwise they look very vague. There's no instruction, like you said, and when people filling them out, they sign their name and a subject, and that's it. There should be more detail in it. Like, I agree with you, Ryan.
I think the key thing is the deadline, the date.
Yeah. Peg.
I think it's great to put something like that on the website, but all this discussion about finding things on the website, would it be easy to find
We're gonna work on that.
Well, actually,
by next week?
what I'm suggesting is actually change the form itself.
Right, but is the form gonna be
On the website.
on the
It is on
website and
the website
easily
now, I believe.
accessible?
Wow.
Because I have to agree, I can't find much on that website.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you where it is.
Okay.
Well, it's a work in progress. Good.
One minor addendum or something that might help also, a one-sentence line at the bottom of the existing agendas. So as you publish agendas, one thing everybody does know where to go to usually is see where the agendas are, and if you just included something at the bottom that told you where, like, new agenda items have to be Wednesday prior to the next meeting, at least that would solve your deadline issue. Something on the bottom of existing agendas. You got plenty of room. The agendas never take more than a half a page. Having it in multiple places never hurts.
So Ryan, why don't you get together with Heather and draw this document up? Next meeting we can accept that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. Did you see there should be attached, Mark?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the new agenda page that you'd like to?
Yeah, Mark. Yep. Basically, I changed right there.
Yeah. So I'm fine with this new selectmen's agenda request form. I'm fine with it. I make a motion to accept this right now.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to accept the new selectmen's agenda request form, starting,
Amended?
yeah, the new amended form.
Yep.
Starting as of right now.
Great.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is the solar garden update. Unfortunately, Andrew Keller couldn't make it tonight, and Tom's not here either, so Tom Gray. So we're gonna skip past that, and hopefully he should be here, I think, the
first Monday in May.
the first Monday in May.
Yep, and could you also clarify that, I've had a couple calls about that ambassador position. It's not a paid position, it is a volunteer position.
Correct, yeah, it is a volunteer position. Yeah, I've seen them too. Okay, next, Sean Skillings. His subject is the European Naiad.
Messy subject, costly.
With me, please.
Thank you.
No, I think that's somebody should have mentioned.
Didn't print that in.
Okay.
European nyack, we've had issues with it up in Maine, Rangeley Lakes. It's been eradicated, many thousands of dollars later. You have a step up here to get the TPA up here. Rangeley Lakes didn't have that texting association to help you out. The problem with that is the herbicide works, but it's only gonna cover 7% in northeast ponds, what they're doing for the money they've already introduced to you. The biggest problem with that is the only time you can treat that is in its dormant state. The plant, it's an invasive species that just spreads like clover. And then it entangles. If you turn the page around, you can see the picture of it, what it looks like. It's brought in by boats, filthy boats, basically. Encrusted hulls that have this dried up on the bottom. Trailers going in, not being cleaned off. Which Andy was telling about the wash station TPPA wants to put in, help a lot with that. But if you don't attack this quickly, it can escalate into thousands of dollars to try to eradicate it. And it's, if it can be eradicated. 7%, you have a good chance of getting rid of it now. What stirs it up is the sediment. As soon as the boating season starts, paddling, all that sediment kicks up. It's 50 million seeds per plant. And if you have, you can do the math on that, you have 7% already in northeast pond. So cleaning the boats is going to help, which is definitely need the herbicide treatment. And you'll find out once that 7% is done if they find more plants. It's going to help you bring in the scuba divers, and you have to literally take the plants off the water. And they're generally in shallow water. So the no-wake zone generally is where they're growing. They need the sunlight, so they stay in shallow parts of the water. So one of the biggest things, Sean, and I appreciate you coming in tonight, was to talk about the recreation. We're gonna have a meeting this month. I think it's the third week of April. But we're gonna have a meeting to talk about, how to move forward on a new boat. We have the station already down there, but we need to really start enforcing it this year. And, so I invited you in to try to help us, or maybe you will help us, I'm hoping you will anyways, on, setting this boat station up. And, maybe we could use you for a little bit to show our employees, how we're gonna go about really cleaning the boats this year. We're able to, we come into a situation where, because of the acreage of the pond, we can help you out with our ES outreach program, which is basically outreach to the public and educate the public about invasive species, cleaning the boats. Also, marine patrol, I know Maine Marine Patrol, New Hampshire. If you get caught with stuff on the boat, there's heavy fines for it. And you'll see it on the backside of that. They will take the boat away and impound it until the fines are paid. It's so much easier for, if they do the preventive maintenance. Before they leave the house, wash the bottom of the boat, wash the trail.
We found most of them up in Saco River and Casco Bay and Sea-Doos, because they have that jet intake. A lot of these plants get right up in there and live up in there. So if you don't know what you're looking for, you're gonna miss it. So that's why they do have the edge.
It's interesting about the getting up inside and you living in there. That's interesting.
'Cause that's what
Never would have thought of that.
Yeah, that's what they suck it right in there and they live right up in there. We had that issue with zebra mussels. They're making a home up inside the intakes. I mean, you can see them on a trailer with a flashlight. You'll look into it. But if you don't clean the boats, you're just gonna make this worse. And it's just gonna multiply. Which will, eventually hurt the revenues. You won't be able to fish here, the fish will die, they'll be floating. I mean, it's not a pretty picture we've seen in Casco Bay, the range of lakes. Mercury levels come up, fish are not. It's the plants that are causing the problem.
Question. Has Maine or any other entity come up with a best management practice which can be mandated as a condition of use at the town boat ramp?
They do. They actually have signs in Maine, right on public boatways, stating you have to clean the boat off before it enters the water. They have
Right.
outreach facilities up there. Of course, the Marine Patrol handles that as well. New Hampshire Marine Patrol handles it up in Alpha Bay and that area.
Yep.
Laconia, where the high boat traffic is. Well, you got such a small percentage now's the time to get it and eradicate it before it grows.
May I refine the question, which is, I can clean a gun by wiping it with a nice oily rag. Disassembly, reassembly, cleaning the bore, that would be the manual of arms. Is there a best practice manual of arms that shall be used to inspect the jet intake by flashlight prior to entering the water? I mean, that level of specificity.
That's where you come in with your help. Knowing what to look for. Recreational people at the gate. So this RDS outreach program is to help inform,
Educate.
basically just let them know what to look for, how to look for it. If you run into issues with it, you address it at that point.
You can expect to have you down there to educate us,
Well,
Sean?
Unfortunately for me, RBS program, it's an adopt a community program, and I'm the only one out here. So, yes, they've allotted some time for me to be there at the beach. So, and
Yeah.
also teach a rec.
You have a question right behind you.
And maybe to I don't know if this is what he was getting at to clarify. Is there an actual written document with pictures that basically you could hand to any town employee?
We have all
and
kinds of handouts.
they should be able to follow the instructions,
Right, yes.
especially once you show them how to do it once, like.
That's what one of these handouts are. Here, putting it. There's
Okay.
going to be a display right at the tax collector's counter every year. Whether people bother to pick them up and look at them, I don't know. But pictures, everything. What it looks like, how to do it. I'll give you
Well,
some.
tied into that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't own a boat, but do you need a license of some kind for a boat? In other words, they're coming into the tax collector to pay in order to be able to put a boat.
A lot of the boats are registered online now. A lot of trailers are online. They register everything online. It used to be they have to come in the town office to do it.
Is there any way because I know the system that is used for the online through Milton is like EE2B.gov or something. It's a third-party thing. It's like, can that be tweaked to where in order for them to even register online, they have to basically click their way through and say, I have seen this?
Maine has that set up.
Maine does have that set up?
New Hampshire doesn't. If you want information, there's a link, a hyperlink, you can click on it, and it brings you the state marine patrol and what the rules are.
I was just trying to figure out a way to make sure that everybody that has a boat or any vessel that's gonna go out on the water at some point in
Well,
time
they
has
have
to
to
have
get-
seen this.
Right, and they have to get what they call a courtesy exam. They're free to the boat owners. And whether you catch it in time, boat ready that day or not, I don't know. Once the sticker's on, it's good for the year. So that's really up to the maintenance of the boat owner, you know.
You should ask Sean. I think we have,
Doesn't Maine make you get some kind of boat sticker if you put a boat in the Maine waterway that's fighting
They
basic?
have the Lake Association sticker you have
Yeah,
to basically have to buy.
right.
It's $10 for the year.
And then if you get caught without it, you're in trouble.
And the Marine Patrol knows what to look for.
Right, they do.
All they know.
So,
But
but,
we do, we know what to look for, you know, inspection stickers.
but it
Police
helps.
inspections out on saltwater,
So why don't they do that in New Hampshire?
look for your nice state. And unfortunately, it's the way it is here.
But $10 would help a long way to every boat
And
that
it's
you put on
actually,
a lake.
in Maine, it's actually put to the fisheries. All $10 goes right to the fisheries. So, you know, it's a matter of maintenance.
Okay, my question was, you know, we set this thing up at the town beach, so, you know, boats go in there. But I happen to own a cottage on the lake, and I've got a friend from, you know, God only knows where, brings their boat up and puts it in the water, and there's no cleaning, no anything.
That's the problem.
Wait, here?
Yeah,
Well, it's not gonna be that way this year. And moving
well,
forward.
are you gonna catch me? I mean, I don't have a
Well,
place
if
on
you-
the
If you
lake,
put your
but-
boat into the Milton Town Beach,
no, I'm talking about my
off
personal
your personal
house.
land, well,
That I
that's
wish
a
I had.
conscience- Unfortunately, that's a conscience that, you know,
Yeah.
that if you don't do it, I mean, it's shame on you, really, because our lakes are in trouble.
No, I know, but I guess what I'm thinking, I totally understand, Andy, but I'm just thinking, how do we educate all of the owners if they're not putting their boats in where there's a wash station? That, you know, maybe you should take your boat over there and put it in there, and then take it over to your boat ramp or wherever you put your boat at your house.
Yeah, no, I'm
I mean, I'm just,
following you, I don't know if this,
Well, TPPA is also gonna be out full force
yeah.
with kayaking, and so they're gonna see the bottoms of the boats as they go by everybody's properties that we're looking at. But they have to have a contact, or not contact with someone else.
yeah, I mean, cause I'm just thinking, I mean, especially a kayak you can put in anywhere.
Right.
And, you know, I took my kayak wherever.
Yeah, it's not so much
Bring it in.
the kayak, it's when they clean the kayaks in the pond, which I've seen them do, they flip them over, flip them back, they're transporting, if it's there, I mean, we're talking seedlings,
Yeah.
tiny little top of a pin. They transport them to the next pond, they go with the kayak. And it sticks to it, as soon as it's dry, it's on there. Until it gets wet again, and it releases, and it grows a new pond.
Yeah, I think there's an awful lot of educating that needs to be
Yes.
It
done.
really does, I mean,
And, you know,
and until someone pays one of those big fines and gets on Facebook, guess who fined me for this, then it'll explode, you know,
Yeah.
then they'll know. Seems to be the only thing that's wrong with social media.
But, yeah, but speaking of Facebook, that would be something, say, it's like once every other week, it should be posted on the town website,
Sure.
like an educational update.
Yeah, you have to foster the program, basically. The
Yeah.
town has to be the caretaker of the program for its own ponds. And of course, your sediment mat, now they're expensive, it's expensive, but you gotta do it. And if you do find it, I was talking to Bob Mulligan, Marine Patrol up in Guilford, and he informed me, he says, if you do find it, you take the whole, you don't get into any arguments with the boat owner, you take a picture of it, if you have, it doesn't have a cell phone from that. Basically a picture of the hull number, and there's an email address to him that he'll give the town to send it, and he'll take care of it. This way, no one's getting into scuffles with the public at the beach. That's the last thing you need, right?
I totally agree.
So,
Well, after
there are
this-
channels, you're just working the channels.
Actually a very serious matter.
It is.
It was shown at the town meeting when they doubled the amount to put towards the European NIAID. And their counterparts over in Lebanon had put money towards it, and the TPPA is putting money towards it, along with the state putting money towards it. So the importance on this should be somewhere around a 9, okay? And I think it's a great idea to every once in a while announce it on the website, amongst other places, even down at the beach. Have some signage down
Wanna
there.
put it on the sign outside?
Well, that one's pretty busy all the time.
But this is
That'd
where
be
your
a lot of work.
Lake Coast program came in. That's all he did at Town Beach is, on lakes.
Maybe on the town
But it was
website
paid
or
for
something.
by lake associations, they had the money to do it, right now. We've already
Yeah, we looked into
looked
it.
into that, there's just no way it would ever pan out for us.
I seem to recall when I lived in Somersworth, the bridge going across between Somersworth and Berwick specifically has a big sign on that bridge related to transporting invasive plant species on a boat as a fine of X amount. Putting one or more of those signs around the lake, especially at the town boat ramp, probably would be an incentive for people to fix.
And when we finally get a bridge, we can put a sign on that too.
Going both ways.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good idea, Sean.
I mean, that's what.
Information is critical.
It's key.
Yeah.
And, in New Hampshire, you have to get a voting certificate to, have a vote. In Maine, you don't. You just need a driver's license. It's crazy, but that's the way it is. I've seen a 12-year-old driving a boat in Maine.
Yeah.
Erratically, but driving.
But if you go out into a tiny little lake in Maine, they'll catch you if you don't have one of those lake stickers
You
on
certainly will.
it in an hour.
Fishing game, all,
They're
all
everywhere.
out there. Bring kayaks and canoes, you never know. They're there.
I actually looked into the little lake sticker for here, just to try to help, pay for this. Unfortunately, we can't do it. But I do look into it.
The only other expense you have right off is the sediment net. We discussed what that would run.
Yeah.
Which isn't too expensive, but to catch it from the boat, once you clean it off, then you dry back off the mat, and the mat's gonna be far enough away from the water, so it doesn't wind up going downhill into the awning.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, Sean, and talking to us. We'll pin this out up front. To Michelle.
Thank you.
Next, we have the library memorandum of understanding. Larry Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you. We have Betsy Baker is here as the library director. Nancy Drew is our new trustee, and is, to use the earlier phrase, the living memory of the tribe, as she was there teaching back before it was taken over as the library in '91. I like tonight's meeting because it is right up my alley in my two major concerns for every committee is always the process and standards. And you have to know what you're doing in order, and you have to know what it is you're talking about. On the draft, when you get to the end of it, it is called a document of process and goals for the effective operations, that's plural, of the Milton Free Public Library as a public benefit for the citizens of the town of Milton. I started working on this and in discussions with Lori as a small problem we had over the last 2 years in which checks which were going directly to the town for part of the restoration projects that we had, shall we say, took additional time to reach the town. And this memorandum of understanding was set up to make sure that we continued what has been for two decades, all the time that I've been here, a most productive and cooperative relationship between the library and the town. So what we did was Betsy, went over the stuff that the library does, and on the back, and she also put together the history, the operation, and the statutory duties. And on the back of the memo, you should have what we are calling the Milton Free Public Library Overview. And it's set up just for under SB2 legislation. Milton voters determine the governance and funding of the library and town annually at their two-part meeting. And then from that, the town of Milton selectmen, working under RS 31, then down through the town budgets, the administration, town department services, and then the same thing for the trustees under RSA 202, the library budget, warrants, personnel, task standards, the librarian, and then down at the bottom, the internal grant review and assessment, and those famous dotted lines. Because you can see there are some times where the town has a grant that is completely its own money and responsibility. Sometimes the town has responsibilities to the physical structure of the library, which are specifically its own. Sometimes the library has responsibilities to the inside of the building, which are specifically its own. And then there's that dotted line of cooperative agreement. So that is the background for the cooperative agreement. And I'm sure that Betsy, who has been there longer than I, can talk to the just excellent, the help that has come from the town in terms of the payroll detailing, in terms of the protection of the building as a government services building, and the picky details of trash pickup and snow plowing that Pat has been responsible for. So, Betsy, if you want to, jump in.
Well, it's my understanding that in 2000, the library and the town came together on some of these things, but never had a formalized agreement. Before that, any budget that the voters voted upon went directly to the library itself, which is something, it's what can happen, but it means that we would need another bookkeeper. It means that we would be responsible for any number of things. So what I wanted to do was 17 years later, just say, this is something we agree to. I don't know. What you have had plenty of time to look over this. Did you have any questions?
I think it's a very well thought out plan. I just had one question. You gonna make these guys come and pick up your trash?
Oh, no. What I'm talking about is the weekly, we
Right,
put a
yeah.
bag of trash out and we have a little trash.
Do you have a dumpster?
No, we
No.
have a little shed kind of thing. And the guys come and pick that up once a
Right.
week.
Yeah.
Has Attorney Sessler had a chance to look at this?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay. That because my my favorite is that it is in effect when signed, and the large print giveth and the small print taketh away, and then after it says it's in effect when signed, It goes on to say, it has no statutory power of its own, depends on funds of available implementation, no money, no guts. It is subject to timely renegotiation and may be ended by either party as circumstance and statute may require, which is the largest barn door you will ever see. And nothing in the memorandum of understanding shall be construed to limit the powers and or responsibility of the trustees or selectmen as set out under New Hampshire law. The only thing missing is mom and apple pie.
Right. But having it signed, you come up with a contract.
No,
Basically.
this is basically just acknowledging what we already do, but it is saying that we are cooperating together rather than fighting at cross purposes. I mean,
It's a formal understanding.
it's a formal understanding.
That I'm sure that that you and Andy remember our August 11th Library Trustees meeting.
Yes.
This is the cordial and productive framework that takes care of things like that.
No, I mean, I'm fine with this, personally. I mean, the trustees do a wonderful job at the library. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a town building, and the town of Milton is responsible for the library. So, you know, and then, of course, Betsy has her own budget, for what needs to, you know, for its everyday running inside of the library. So, I mean, the fundamentals are all there, and they've been working. This is more just, you know, like the town administrator has stated, just, it's kind of an agreement, you know, where we know what is expected of you and vice versa. So, I'm fine with it. I don't know if you wanna have Attorney Cecil look at it.
Could I just have your blessing and send it to Attorney
I
Cecil?
think we should.
Yeah.
I just don't see anything wrong
You
with
seen
it.
this, Pat?
It's reasonable.
Okay.
Are you all right with it, Pat?
I am.
I remember last week I did ask for this to be sent over to Attorney Cecil.
I sent it to him, and he said he didn't have a chance to look at it.
He did, okay. All right, so
He kinda had a stack.
as soon as he says, I'm fine.
I do have a clean copy that we changed one word
That we talked
and
about.
and a spelling error, and then we added an extra comma.
Can you send that to me?
I can.
All right, so I'm gonna say, please read this one. Yes. Okay.
The,
So
Matt,
you'll pick up on that.
Matt, may I put on my budget committee hat? And for
You may.
what Betsy said, in terms of the final cost to the taxpayer for operating the library, having the what do we call in the finance department at the moment? The check writing capacity of the town of Milton handle payroll is one more piece of paper on the 50 or so checks you're already writing, rather than having to put in place a contract to pay for the complete costs of a person setting up an account for the library. So it's cheaper all around, and I like that part of it. And just again, for the work that building and grounds have done for the maintenance of the outside, just a delight.
And the inside.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll send you the new copy. I'll
I
send
will.
it to Jim, say, read this one.
Read that one.
Okay, so for those who didn't hear it, Betsy's gonna provide Heather with a new copy of this that has some slight changes in it and can be sent off to be viewed by legal counsel.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Larry. Okay, next we have the approval of the minutes.
So I got a few things. The business discussed, it follows the agenda, but it doesn't follow the order we actually discussed it in. Remember, right, fire chief came in a little late, so we moved to the end, so I don't know if we wanna fix the order of that, of how we actually discussed it.
Liable document, so it should. Could you do that for us, Brenda?
And then on page 4, under the discussion of appointment of chair, I had made a statement too, after, Mike, where he stated that he thinks it should be rotated a lot more than it has in the past. I stated the importance of this is keeping order of the meeting, no additional power or authority. There's no additional power or authority, that was missed. And then
He's describing what the chair's position is. What he's saying is the chair has no more authority or power than any of the other selectmen. He had mentioned that.
Where was that?
Page 4.
It was on page 4 at the top. It's where I said it prior to him saying it, and
Yeah.
so, it's more or less the same thing I said. If you want to put Ryan in there.
Then on page 5, for the ambassador of Solar Garden, there was a short discussion before the motion was made, where Andy made comments and Tom also commented. And then on page 9, under my selectmen, actually under Mike's selectmen comments, where the Dunkin' Donuts was brought up, the current draft says, Ryan Key stated he did not want to set a date right now, but we'll have one for the next POS meeting. That isn't what I said. I said I'd take it under advisement. I went back and watched the video to verify this. And I have a question about the last page when we adjourned. We went into non-public. Do we generally state why we went into non-public at the end? Because we didn't state anything here. Now, whether we didn't actually state it or make a motion,
Didn't know why you went.
I think that we definitely need to all pay more attention to that going forward, because that's a big thing. It was not very clear when I went back and watched the video, what we were doing.
Was it-
There was all kinds of noise and,
Yeah.
Right, but I think we did state it, maybe just, because I remember asking Heather, what are we going into, non-public on?
yeah,
So I think it was said just,
the video didn't really pick it up.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be, going forward, make sure that that's very clear.
It was B? No, it
it was C, wasn't it?
was C. RSA 91A 3-2C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that should get in there. And unanimous roll call to leave the non-public.
Right. So we'll table the minutes until the corrections are made for the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, next on the agenda is the expenditure report. Heather?
Are they in there? I don't have them. I asked, the person who's acting as doing the bookkeeper reports to put them in. She said she put them in, so I don't have a copy. Do you have a copy? I'm gonna try to go see if I can pull a copy. I got them in your packets, I was told.
Yeah.
They were
I
in
mean,
your
how
packets.
are we doing? We doing all right?
I was told on Friday that we're at 17% verbally in March overall, so that was good.
So we should really try to make sure that those expenditure reports
Are in there.
are, yeah, so that we can review them.
But yeah, the total was 17 on Friday. I thought they were total there. I didn't review your packets. I saw the treasury report.
Yeah,
That was given to me directly. I will have to finish it through Friday.
this is for the ending of February,
Mhm.
right here, oh yeah. Nope,
March?
for March, yeah, 3/8, 2017. So the ending balance is $500,199.73 from TD Bank. You fellas have anything to point out on this, or any questions on it?
That number you just read off.
17%, it's not on that, it's 17% of where we are in our expenditure, 17.1 of where we are in expenditure reports to date in the calendar year. Our interim, you met our interim finance person on Friday?
Yep.
Or she actually not our intern, she's our finance director, but she was on Friday. And I said, where are we? And she said, we're at 17.1%. So that's, I think we're in pretty good shape. But I'll get you a report Friday, and check back in.
Right.
Okay, we're moving along, administrative comments.
Okay. The library is having the bid opening on Thursday at 4:00 for the L-chip grant.
The L-chip, for the phase 2 of the L-chip grant, which is the tower and the hip roof.
And we need 2 selectmen here at 4:00 on Thursday to open the bids. So Andy, Ryan,
Yep.
to be here,
I'll be here,
and with Betsy to do that.
and I believe Pat will be here as well. Can I ask one favor of that? Pat and I really put in, as Pat especially, a lot of thought and effort into how we wanted these bids set up. They are going to be itemized bids. They are going to be bids that have I'm sorry, I'm losing my, the references should be with them, so we want to check the references before we actually give our recommendations. And we're also asking for a timeline, so it's not quite as simple as which one is the lowest bid. It's, if I have any say, I recommend that Pat review all of them and give you his recommendations.
I agree.
Mike, are you available at 4 too?
No,
Okay.
that's Thursday, you said, right?
Yeah.
No.
It's posted, so it's
Yeah.
what they have to go with for their deadline. So.
Yeah, that's fine, no. I think we had talked about it at the last meeting anyway.
Have you got any bids in?
Well, I don't know, they're going to Heather,
I
and
haven't seen it.
the date is
It's
the
the 6th.
6th.
Nothing
And
showed up in my box.
we had some interest at the meeting,
Yes.
so I feel pretty comfortable that we will be receiving bids.
Okay. As of today, it's waiting. No, but that
They'll
doesn't.
probably bring them in last minute
They usually.
on Thursday.
The department heads, we've been working, plugging away at the personnel book. We have a meeting on Thursday, noontime, to work on that. Hopefully we'll have something for the next select board meeting. Bookkeeper interviews are set up for, first ones are set up Friday for the interview team. We have 3 set up, so we're in good shape on that. I call your attention to the calendar in July. I know it sounds pretty far off, but the first meeting in July is July 3rd. It's a Monday night, and then the next July day is July 4th. And I didn't know if you wanted to modify that.
how's it work for the employees that day? Do they have Monday off or they have to work Monday?
You have to work Monday and have Tuesday off. I don't know what, so, I mean, we can do it that, but I just didn't know. A lot of times there's fireworks for July 3rd.
Right, I don't know, what do you guys think?
I would say we probably should change it, because people probably have plans, and probably a lot of people have Tuesday off.
Brenda will be here, if it matters.
Yeah, I mean,
There was some talk about doing more carpeting that day. So, I mean, I'm throwing it out there now so we can start planning.
Yep.
Maybe do it the next following Monday?
yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm good
What
with
day
that.
would that be,
The 10th, right?
okay.
Question, is that, you're shifting both of the meetings by a week, or you're gonna have, like, because you also have, there's one scheduled for the 17th, so it's gonna shift to what, the 10th and the 24th?
That would make sense, because we have 5 Mondays in
You
July.
do have,
Yeah,
you do have
yeah.
5 Mondays, so that
Yeah.
would still give a 1
Yeah.
week gap in between, except for at the beginning.
Do you want to do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that okay, guys?
Yep.
Makes sense. And then, also, the bid openings for the culvert is the 25th, is that it?
6th.
26th.
I don't remember.
I think it's the 26th,
It's
it's
25th
my
or
father's
26th.
birthday, so I should know that date. At
Yeah,
4.
we have a meeting at 8 o'clock next week here on the 11th also.
Right.
For that.
Do the selectmen have to be here though?
No,
No, they
that's
don't have
gonna
to be
be
here.
Underwood and contractors.
Yeah, they only have to be here for the opening.
They have to open the bids on the 25th or 26th, whichever date that is.
And I'll send them a reminder.
And we'll have to set that public hearing after the bids are open, when we know who the contractor is, so that we can have that public hearing to inform the public about how that project is gonna go, and let them ask the questions that they may wanna ask before we get started.
And that's what I have so far.
Thank you, Heather. Selectmen's comments. Ryan?
All right, let's see. So, I hate to bring this up, but I gotta. It's about the right to know requests that were turned in, I guess, what, last month? Or in February, about the emails between two selectmen. The only reason I bring this up is strictly because I want the board to be transparent, honest, upfront about the issue. I want it to be put behind us. It seems to keep coming up. There were several questions done with the audit that was done on the email. And again, the only reason I bring it up is because I think the public needs to have faith that a professional and non-biased job was done on the audit. So I would like to see the board authorize the town administrator to select somebody, a third party, to re-perform that audit, working with the town attorney, so that it's fair, professional, and non-biased.
Who's gonna pay for it?
Who paid for the last one?
We haven't determined that yet. That's a big question.
It is what the last one was not done, what was asked wasn't done, so we shouldn't be paying for it.
Okay. My opinion,
Again, the only reason I bring it up
that's fine. No,
is
I'm,
because we need to move forward. This keeps coming up, and to be honest with you, I've had calls from multiple people that plan on turning in more. So I just want this to be behind us and
Yeah.
move on, so.
that's fine. I think, what my personal opinion is, I don't know if the IT guy was told exactly what to do. I wasn't there, but I don't think personally that we should be hiring a third party. For one, I don't expect the taxpayers to pay for this. I don't expect the taxpayers to pay for the last one. I think whoever asked for the 91A should be paying for it. And so, no, I will not spend any more of the resources of the town of Milton for this. I think if you want, that's my only personal opinion. I think if you want, you can ask the IT guy who did it the first time to clarify with him that this is specifically what we ask and what we want. And, you know, that's my opinion. It's just, this is, you know, that's where I go with this.
Well said, Andy.
I don't know how,
Yeah,
what
well
you feel,
said.
Mike?
No, I feel the same.
Question? Comment? Only because I knew this had been brought up in previous meetings and I asked, might need to get clarification and find out, but my understanding is anybody requesting a 91A can't be held responsible for paying for it. It's up to the municipalities to have systems in place to allow for a 91A search to occur, whether or not it's within their existing budget or whether or not they need additional budgets, but an individual actually placing a request for a 91A is not supposed to be held financially responsible for that actually occurring. At least that is how it happens at the city of Portsmouth. The city of Portsmouth, they get requests coming in on multiple times a week, and the individuals asking for the requests are not responsible for paying for it. In counter to what you were talking about, if somebody's requested a 91A, they're not required. If the town is not set up to allow for those to happen correctly, then that needs to be corrected. Now, which is a separate issue from redoing the search. The point being is, going forward, any kind of search like that, if the system's not set up to do it, and to an extent, it's hard for me to say some of this stuff because there's minor ulterior motives in the fact that I'm actually capable of doing this. You need to get a different IT guy if he doesn't have it set up for this to be able to be done easily and cost effectively. Because the lawyer in the city of Portsmouth does the 91A searches. The IT guy doesn't do it. The lawyer does it. All the lawyer does is say, give me all of the emails, and then the lawyer actually looks through all of the emails for the data that they're asking for. But they're set up that the IT guy can hand over all of the emails in the span of 15 minutes.
They have a full-time attorney, correct?
Yes.
They do have a full-time attorney, but
I personally think that this issue should be handed over to the town administrator and our town attorney to handle it and go forward as they feel fit to follow and respect the right to know law.
as the law requires, whatever the law requires, the only two people that probably are most knowledgeable of what the law actually requires and how financing of the stuff should be, the lawyer should know how that stuff should be handled and what the legalities are and how.
And he's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
just
if the
personally-
lawyer's recommending an additional search, you vote against it, then that's your right as the Board of Selectmen, but be aware that you're voting against what would be a recommendation by the lawyer.
And
So
we
I'll
have
oppose
not.
the motion.
Yeah, I'm just,
I'll oppose the motion for the Board of Selectmen, because first off, it's a conflict of interest, to turn this investigation over to Heather and the town attorney and let them decide, make decision what's fit to go forward to meet the 91A right to know request law.
Isn't he doing that right now? The lawyer, it's in his hands, he's handling it. Why do you need a motion? He's already doing it.
You saw the emails, Mike,
Yeah,
so maybe you should go back and reread them. Again, I'll put that motion out there, if I have a second or not, it's up to you guys, not me.
No, I'm not seconding it. And
All I wanna do is respect
first-
91A and the right to know request law. That's all I'm trying to do here. I am not
And what
at
I'm,
all speculating on any results or wanna talk about
And what I-
anything like that. I just wanna put this to bed so we can move forward, because it keeps coming up and it's gonna continue to come up until we end it.
and what I'm saying is, we've got $800 spent on the IT guy who has done the preliminary search.
That's not what I'm talking
And
about,
it's-
Andy.
no, let me
That's not
finish,
what I'm talking
please, thank you. And he has done his preliminary search and has found nothing. If you're not happy with his findings, okay, I personally am not gonna sit here and allow us to spend any more of the town's resources. And if you're not happy with his findings, you can, more than happy to have him, you know, redo it or look for more or whatever you need, Ryan, but I'm not gonna make a second on that motion, and I'm not gonna allow the town to spend any more money on a third-hand, IT guy to come in here. It's just, we have better things to be doing, moving this town forward. That's why we was sat here, and, it's actually quite frustrating and appalling. So, you know, that's my
okay,
my
the motion on
decision.
the floor, we don't have a second, and the chair votes no as well. Motion fails.
Okay.
Mr. Brown,
That, may
I
I,
see you got a land use book there.
no, I don't. I have 91A4, which happens to be in the land use, and I recommend that you read it in detail. You have to have a person of competent standing, and the venue is an appeal. A pro se motion may be filed with the Superior Court, and on that basis, the Superior Court will move such a request to the top of its calendar insofar as it is possible. A person who has not filed the 91A request is not the person of standing. You have to go over what the governmental record is, what form it is kept in, whether or not a reasonable effort has been made, and what the costs are, and by whom those costs will be paid. And if those points are not covered, irrespective of today's word is foment, F-O-M-E-N-T, which is like the foam on your coffee cup. No matter what the foment is, if you do not have an actionable basis under 91A4, the issue is moot. It's not there. If you have the opinion of your town attorney that the IT specialist has made a due diligent effort under the requirements of 91A4, then that is the town's defensible position, and an applicant under 91A4 would have to meet that challenge in court.
I mean,
But
if
I again, I appreciate process, format, and content, and that's the only reason I don't even know what the fight is to have a dog in it. But
Well, thank you, Larry, for clarifying, because
I-
it helped.
yeah.
And I cannot discuss what's in those emails, but I suggest you, like Andy, go back and review those emails.
No, I reviewed them, and, if, you know, I have no problem. I'm not saying not to ask the IT guy that we've hired to do the job. I have no problem with him, being told exactly what needs to be done and him doing it. But I am not gonna hire another IT guy, all right, to come in here, and, you know, spend, you know, the taxpayers' money, to come up with nothing, okay? I'm not gonna allow that. Have the IT guy that we hired do the job and do it right. Simple as that.
Unless I misinterpreted what he just said, effectively with the 91A, what the ruling says is the lawyer has the final authority. If the lawyer says, get a third party in, it almost doesn't matter what you guys say other than from a perspective of where the money comes from. You get to control whether or not the money comes out of her budget or comes out of a separate special budget to do this, but the point is the lawyer is the one who actually makes the decision on whether or not
And that's
it
fine.
was done, what should be done in terms of, if he says, don't bring the other IT guy in, bring somebody else in, it's the lawyer's decision on who does the work. It's your decision on who pays for it and how it's paid for, but the lawyer decides who actually should be doing the work and making that decision on the competency.
And that is why my motion was to turn this over to the lawyer and the town administrator.
His motion was not
It's
to
already
make it
been-
happen, his motion was to
It's already
remove it, your
been turned
control.
over to the lawyer.
So you're saying it's already been turned over and the lawyer has the authority to do whatever he needs to do?
Listen, Ryan, we had no say in the first one, all right? So I don't even know why this is being talked about. If the lawyer isn't happy, then he's gonna do whatever he's gonna do. I mean, I never even gave the permission to spend the $800 in the first place. I mean, this was done by Attorney Sessler and our town administrator. I don't even know why, it's already been turned over to them. I don't even know what you're talking about. Being truthful, it's already turned over to them, is it or isn't it?
Well, when I get a 91A request, I answer what I can answer, and then I turn it over to the town attorney.
Heather, we can't hear you.
I said, when I get a 91A request, I answer what I can answer, and then I turn over the rest of it to the town attorney. If there's other questions from there, it comes back to the board, I guess, at this point. I don't know if there are other, I'm not saying there are other, I'm kind of,
So this is what I'm gonna say, to move on from this subject, is I'm gonna contact the town attorney again about this issue, and there'll be more to come
That's
with what he
fine.
says. Because I'm not gonna speak out of hand and say something I'm not supposed to say, I'm gonna talk to him and see what the next step is.
That's fine. I mean, I'm fine with that, and, you know,
But-
this matter was turned already over to the town administrator and the town attorney. Am I correct or am I not?
It's in the town attorney's hands right now.
and
So, all right, so that's what you're gonna do, Ryan? You're going to contact the town attorney?
I'm
Okay,
gonna
so-
contact him again.
Okay, so next, do you have anything else?
Yep.
Okay.
So the next thing that I wanna talk about is, last meeting, the Solar Garden Ambassador thing came up. And I heard from multiple people that it looked like we had made a decision before the meeting.
No, it was a play, I'll tell you what, really, honest to God, it was a play on words. I had Heather make up a speech for me before I came in here, and I think that's what you're referring to, was the speech I read. There was no meeting before that, there was no collaboration between any of us to get to appoint him, okay? In fact, did we make a motion right after that? You made the motion to appoint Tom the ambassador. That's when the decision was made.
That's what I was gonna try to say, so thank you for finishing my comment.
Anything else,
That's all I
Ryan?
was trying to say. And I think we're all to blame for that. I'm not blaming one person. I think all of us are to blame for that, and we need to be more sensitive to that, because I went back and watched the video and it didn't look good. I agree. It wasn't the intentions, but it's all part of being transparent and honest. I just wanted to bring it up and get it off the table, get it over with.
And again, like I had said earlier, Mr. Gray is not being paid, and
Yep. And I think that's another reason that we really need to make sure we're using those selectmen agenda request forms. So we know who put that in there and all that.
In more detail, yeah, I agree.
Because without that, it kind of sets us all up for failure, and we don't want that. We want to move forward, work as a group, work as a team to go in a positive direction, so.
And it might help, because the agendas will go to you, Heather, right?
Mhm.
You should review them, I mean, you know, to kind of prepare us for the meeting.
That's it.
Andy, you have anything?
Yeah, this is from Pat, the roadside cleanup starts, it's on April 22nd, 9 o'clock, 9 to noon, down at the highway department. Show up at 9 and do our thing to clean up Milton. It works every year, and after you go out there and give him a hard day's worth of work, he's gonna give you a little something to eat. So I've been doing it for a few years now, and I think it's a great, great source of avenue to help get the town cleaned up. So that is April 22nd. This Saturday, they're doing an Easter egg hunt at the new high school cafeteria. Pre-K and first grade is 9 to 9:30. Second and third grade is 9:30 to 10. And the fourth and fifth grade is 10 to 10:30. That's this Saturday for Easter egg hunt. So that's always fun to attend. And then we have the household hazardous. I just wanted to bring that up. Do you want to bring it up, Pat? or you-
No, go ahead.
The household hazardous waste collection is May 6th from 8:30 to 12:30 at Turnkey Landfill, 90 Rochester Neck Road in Rochester, New Hampshire. And if you want to know what you can and can't bring, I will leave this, and it's probably on the website anyways, on your website.
We're handing out flyers and we have it posted at the transfer station also.
Okay, so it's posted at the transfer station. I will leave this one here with our town administrator, and she can hang it up over by Michelle, so everybody can figure out when, or find out when it's happening. I think that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Rawson.
Welcome.
I would like everybody to recognize Peg Hurd in the audience today. She is our school rep for the board. She is also the vice chair to the school board. She was nominated that night. So I'd like to welcome her to our meeting here tonight, and if it's all right with the board, I want it to be the rep for the school board in return. Is that, I don't think we need a motion for that or anything. It's all right with you guys. Unless one of you want to take it, doesn't matter.
What now? I'm sorry.
It's a collaboration between the school, it's a connection between the school and the town. So Peg is going to be our representative for the school, and one of us, I'm volunteering for it, would be the representative from the town to the school,
Well, we determined that last
right?
2 weeks ago.
Just
We
want to
didn't
make
discuss
sure
about
that
the
we're
school.
clear.
What's that?
I don't think anything was discussed about the school.
I don't know the school, but if you wanna do it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Does anybody want to rotate? Because I mean, the school board may alternate. I mean, I'm here April, so I may not be in May. It may be Doug, it may be somebody else, but there will be a school rep. And if nobody decides to do it.
We can do that, we can rotate it,
Yeah, you'll see me again. And
like we
again.
do with the coffee, meet with the coffee. We can rotate that too.
I would like to have at least the agenda and maybe some backup,
Sure.
if you
Yeah,
don't
we can
mind.
get your.
Could you do that for us, Heather? Thank you.
Yeah. Can I get your
Which would be
email?
great. Pardon?
Can I get your email?
Yes, heard.
Mhm.
Are you gonna be able to give it to the person if you do
Yes.
the rotation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Metrocast.net. It's a nice, easy one.
That is an easy one.
No numbers. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome, Peg. Thank you.
Tom.
So, the next budget meeting, well, I haven't been to a budget meeting yet. I've been volunteered to stay on the budget committee in the next meeting. Next meeting is
I think it's, I'm day off. If Tuesday is the 17th, it's the 17th. If Tuesday is the 18th, it's the 18th.
Okay.
Somebody with a clever calendar tell me.
Tuesday.
It's the 18th.
Okay,
18th.
okay.
And that will be a reorganization meeting. We'll just do a pro forma adoption of the rules of procedure. And this is a slow time for the budget committee because the school is well underway and things are quiet, and the selectmen are just getting to work through the 2017 budget and find out who's on first.
Right.
No,
Thank you, Larry. Then we have, last thing is, the installation of the carpets are, we decided to break this down into phases or different steps. I think the next step is to get the VCT through the center, how we had laid it out, how it was determined to be laid out. So, I guess we're looking for a time to do that. So, I'll leave that with you, Heather. And if it turns out to be over a long weekend, I'd be looking for volunteers to help me move some of the stuff around inside here. I'm not gonna ask employees to go on overtime to do that. So I'm looking for volunteers to help me, or the board, not me, the board, to move some stuff around so that they can do the next phase of the floor. Well, we haven't determined that yet. We're looking for maybe a long weekend, because I understand that the floor people are willing to come in on weekends to do the work. Am I right about that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So. Well, I think that,
Does it have to necessarily be a long weekend?
I don't know, they said they need a day to install it, a day for
The
it to
VCT
dry.
Yeah, the VCT team seems to need longer drying time than
Right.
anything else in the carpet. That's
Right.
the big thing. It needs like 48 hours, I think they said to me. You were at the meeting.
Well, I didn't know what they needed for time, that was gonna be my question. Back in the administrative comments, was there some talk about doing something on the 4th of July weekend? Did I hear you say something
We
about that?
talked about that at one point. I don't know if we're gonna do that, but we had talked about that.
But I mean, if they need 3 or 4 days, and we move stuff out the end of the week before the 4th of July weekend, and everybody's gonna take off, and they wanna come in on that weekend, that gives them 4 days if you close on Monday or something like that, or change your holiday date or whatever. I think you're trying to squeeze it in too tight of a window by certain days when you have operation of the town hall on Saturdays and you have rec stuff on weekends and stuff like that, so I think you have to look for a window like that, and if we can give them that kind of time, maybe they can knock out a little more, and then we can kind of get it done. I don't know, your thoughts, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
You tell me.
That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a time
You know.
slot, a time frame.
We have to give Michelle as much notice.
I mean, you got a holiday on a Tuesday. So really, most people are gonna be gone for a long weekend, that weekend. If you prepare the place Friday, when everybody leaves, they got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday if you close on Monday, the town hall. And you give them 4 days, and they come in and do what they can do in 4 days, and then we move you back in on Wednesday.
And that would be a board decision if we decide to close on Monday.
I'm just throwing that
Yeah,
out there.
no, I
don't
know,
wanna
yeah.
It almost makes sense to use that window because it's there.
So under perfect conditions, absolutely perfect, you need roughly 48 hours to install a VCT between your prep time, your installation time, and your dry time. Perfect conditions. So
I mean, they could come in and do this room anytime.
Don't worry about this room as
No,
much as
it's the VCT.
Yeah, it's out there. What is this room gonna be, carpet?
Yeah.
Okay,
Can the process be split? Can they come in and do that section?
That's what we're doing
and then
now.
come in and do
That's what we're doing
so
now.
you could, like he was saying, on Friday, you could move everything out of there into this office,
Yes.
into this room,
Yeah.
and then they'd have free reign there.
That's what
The
we're doing
biggest-
now.
The biggest thing is, to answer that is the high traffic area that we're talking about with the VCT. So we basically have to shut it down because nobody can be walking. Michelle couldn't walk out of her office, I couldn't walk out of mine. I mean, we just could not walk around. I mean, once we get it cleared out, we gotta shut it down, lay it down, let it do whatever it does, and then move on.
Yeah, to follow what Pat was saying is that on Friday, you moved everything in here at the end of the day on Friday. They could come in on Saturday and do it. By Monday, that it would be ready to move the stuff back. You wouldn't even have to change the calendar. You could move everything in here on Friday, and then Monday morning, everything gets moved up back out of here over into there, and that section's done.
I mean, my personal opinion is we should really leave it up to, I don't know, Heather, are you mainly leading this off, or who's the lead person for this? Is there a lead person, Pat, Heather, or is it?
I've been going by what Heather's been telling me is gonna happen, so.
I mean, I think initially the board had been working with Mike on this, because Mike had been handling it. And Mike has been talking to me, but I talked to Bork because,
I mean, I think we should just appoint you as the lead person,
The
work with
biggest-
the department heads and the carpet people, come up with a plan, present it to the board, we either say yes or no if it involves
The
closing.
problem that we've been
town hall.
running into is that every time we planned to do something on the floor, there's always something scheduled here or somebody's working.
so we need to plan
Unfortunately,
it
we're
out.
gonna have to bite the bullet, and we're gonna have to stop operations for a period of time if we wanna get that done. That's been the problem, we haven't had a window to get in to do it without something happening. The first window was gonna be Winter Carnival weekend, they were gonna come in and do a bunch of stuff, but then there ended up being a couple of events here on this floor and this bottom floor, so that kinda blew that out the window, and we couldn't come in on that weekend. So we've been looking for windows, we haven't had any. There hasn't really been a window to get in here without shutting down the building.
I mean, I know it's the first of the month, but I don't see you're gonna have a lot of registrations on the 3rd of July. I mean, I could be wrong. That's my only thought.
Well, I think as long as we
Notify people.
notify people way ahead of time, and it gives them time to plan.
And if we cancel the selectmen meeting that night, we've already been prepping that ahead of time. I don't know.
But we're not sure if the floor people can do it that day, yeah, technically, right?
No, I haven't made that call because I want to. But I think they're really good about working with us. I mean, I have to say, they've been very accommodating and
So what are you guys' thoughts on shutting town hall down on that day?
I guess I kind of agree with Pat. We're gonna have to bite the bullet and maybe have to shut down. Was just the town hall you're talking about, right?
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna take some time to move stuff around. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be done in 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you wanna give them more than just 48 hours. I mean, Matt just said, perfect conditions, they're gonna need 48 hours. If you give them that extra day, or day and a half, or whatever they're gonna need, at least we know it's getting done and getting done right. We're not trying to rush them to get in and get out of here. We have a window there, I think, that makes sense, in my opinion. It's 1 day. So,
I'm fine with it.
you
Yeah.
just gotta, sooner or later, we're gonna end up doing it.
Yeah,
You got till the end of the year to use the money that you
Yeah.
got. So you're gonna end up either doing it now, or you're gonna come into October, November, and we're gonna have the same conversation, and you're gonna say, Pat, we're gonna have to shut down and get this done.
so the board agrees. Either ask them, it's a bigger window now,
okay.
if they could do the VCT in that corner over there with the carpet,
Square.
with the accounting,
The finance area.
yeah. If it's possible. If not, we'll
Let's-
just stick with the
Let's talk to them and
VCT.
see what their
Yeah,
schedule
exactly,
is.
yeah.
And if we're gonna choose that 4th of July weekend, if they can come in here on that weekend, then we'll set it up to get them to do whatever they can do in a 3.5 day period, and
Yeah, like I had
and
said,
knock it out. I mean, if they can come in and do everything on that side of this
Sure,
building
yeah.
in those 4 days that we're gonna give them,
Let's do it.
this is
Well,
all we got left.
yeah, minus like I think her office, minus her office. I don't think we ever planned to do that back kitchen area anyway,
No.
right? Just her office. And that could be even done on a later date too.
Do we have a snow date?
Please, Larry. Should I ask about
That's the fourth.
the welfare office too?
Yeah,
Just ask, like Pat said, how much can they get done in that window?
Yeah.
right.
Well, I read it, bang as much out.
No, I don't lay floors, but I know, I wouldn't wanna be rushed if I was gonna do a job in my neighborhood.
They
I
were
wanna have the
quick with
proper
that
time to do the
company, yeah.
job and have it come out good, because I want you to be my next reference.
And your statement about giving them that extra day, day and a half, it's like, the longer you can let it sit, the more,
Right.
the less likely there's gonna be a problem with it coming back up or having an issue with it.
I just think we should
so.
just do it. I mean, we've been trying to fit this in, what, 6, 8 months now? This looks like the best window to try to fit this in and get a 4-day work schedule going in here.
So why don't you take a
But
vote on that?
whatever you tell me is what we'll do.
Well, talk to the,
I'll
talk to
try-
the.
If they say they can do it, I'll ask you for a vote next week,
Okay.
or next time. Deal?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have. So that's it for selectmen's comments. Public comments. Betsy.
I wanted to thank Bill Whidden and Dustin Naylor. They've been coming into the library in between snowstorms, and they did the hallway on the second floor of the library, and they did a beautiful job.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Any other comments? Larry Brown.
There are three, and that is, on your non-public sessions, rather than saying, it was 91 AC, a topical summary. A non-public session, topic was tax relief. No decisions were made. 3 decisions were made, confidentiality requested, so that people have a sense, without giving anything away, what was done. That is also a better key to your memory when you review the minutes. The other thing is the school board rep is something that actually came in part from Mike. When Earl Sussman came on board and the CIP started, Wakefield is going to be out of the picture effective July 1st, and this was a part of a cooperative relationship without a formal ex officio nature to get more cooperation between the town and school for better financial planning and to know more about the budget issues and personnel issues that the town and school face. So, thank you.
Thank you, Larry Brown. Anyone else? Not hearing any. I want to thank you all for coming. Any other board that might come for business that come from the board? Again, not hearing any. I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion. For adjournment.
I'll second.
The board says yes. All in favor, yeah. Thank you.
Right.